Josh. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. How are you? You good?
I'm okay. Welcome to the 237th episode of our podcast.
Hello, number 237. We've made it to this one, which is another one.
Here it is, another one.
We finally caught it.
It's a good name for it.
What?
Yeah.
What's the name? What's the name?
Another one.
Another one. Okay. Yeah.
It's another one.
I'll try and remember that when I do the notes. It'll be fine.
People probably got the gist by this point.
Yeah, they've either seen it or not.
Yeah.
Either way.
Fresh off the back of our Game of the Year show, which was lengthy but filled to the brim with video games.
Had all the video games from 2019.
There was so many.
I mean, not many good ones, but they were there.
Yeah, it was an interesting year. And it's all done and dusted now. It's all over. Forget about it.
He's absolutely right. It's 2020 now. It's time to move forward. Let's think about what's going to happen this year. Life goals. What you got?
Life goals. Life goals. I've got kind of scary life goals this year.
Okay. Is it don't die?
Don't die is actually rarely drops out of my top 5 on my list of things to do.
It's just always there. You know,
it's always sort of
the fear of death. It never goes away.
It's powerful.
Yeah. It's gonna mute my phone because I forgot to do that. There we go.
Nah, that can happen.
It doesn't matter anyway. Fear of death. There it is. He's always over his shoulder, looking over you just in case.
There he is. Oh, George Death.
George.
And then hoping to maybe buy a house.
And, it's good to own land,
wedding
buddy.
Date as well.
Jesus, this is all big boy stuff. I don't like the sound of this.
Yeah,
this is something that people play video games shouldn't really have to think about.
No, well, I certainly won't continue down that road of talking about it.
Good,
I'm actually completely done with this conversation.
I'll tell you what.
What about you, buddy?
I was listening to the Giant Bombcast today because it came out.
Oh, yeah.
And they went on about kids for like 20 minutes or something. And I was just like, there's just no need. I've done a podcast where I've had 2 children. And I don't think I've gone on that much about them waking up and all that stuff. But anyway, who cares? I just think it's silly. No one needs to know. People are parents. They know. People that aren't parents, they get the gist, I guess. No?
I like Kids by MGMT.
Great song.
It's a tune.
You know it.
Yeah.
Does he actually say the word kids in it? I don't even know the words.
I don't think so.
Well, that's weird.
I don't think it even features.
It doesn't feature kids.
Sort of band, aren't they, really? So, yeah.
It's not like Respect, where they actually say the word, or DISCO, disco.
No, I mean, they spell them in those.
Yeah, but, you know, they also say them. You know, they're going that extra yard.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So, year ahead, buddy. Life goals, don't die. Pretty much that's all I've got. Do well every day.
Do well every day. That's a good shout.
That's what I'm going for.
No, do it. Don't die and do well.
And then, what else?
You got a do and a don't there. What else do you need?
Exactly. And maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. To be honest, this week we probably will have a bit of a chat about the year in video games. That's the topic of this podcast.
Because I haven't got anything in the notes.
No, that's absolutely fine, buddy. I was going to talk about some games that I've been playing. Shall I do that?
It's probably a good shout.
Now's as good a time as any while we're recording it. I mean, it's so yeah. I take it you've just played Destiny 2 and nothing else this week?
Yep.
That's what I thought. So what I've been playing is, firstly, I've been getting a bit of a hankering to play some Dishonored, which was, of course, in my games of the day.
Yeah, we spoke about it last week, didn't we? So you tucked into it. Is it on Game Pass? It is, isn't it? Or is that Dishonored 2? No, it isn't.
I bought this game.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I bought the definitive edition. I bought it on Xbox. It is the first game I've bought for Xbox One.
I'm not happy about this.
I've had the console for well over a year.
Yeah, and finally took the plunge on age-old classic Dishonored.
Definitive edition.
Yeah. How does it run?
Yeah. Well, it runs very nicely, actually. It's a lovely port, and it's incredibly responsive, which might be something to do with the fact that I've gone from Half-Life 2 360 port to Dishonored Definitive Edition. But it just feels so nice. It makes me even more angry about the whole Prey thing, because that just felt shit. And I know there was a lot of crossover between the teams and the studios there. I might have to give that another go. But anyway, Dishonored Definitive Edition is $14.99 on the Xbox Store.
Fuck.
And $29.99 on the PlayStation Store.
Well, do the math.
I don't know what it is about the PlayStation version that means that it's double the price. This isn't discounted, by the way. These are the prices. It's just
the standard price, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. That's utterly fucking stupid. So I thought, well, you know, if it's slightly downscaled in resolution, then that's not a problem. But no, it looks really, really nice. And yeah, it looks and plays as well as I remember the PC version doing so
nice.
Back in, 2011 or whatever.
Apart from the obviously added character in Dishonored 2, was there any like major differences like combat wise or mantling wise? Obviously, combat wise, yeah, you had different powers, but you also had different powers per character, didn't you? From what I remember,
you did, yeah.
Let's say you played as Corvo in the first one, as you kind of got the same powers in the second. Did you play as Corvo in the second one?
I played through.
Didn't you?
I played it through twice. The first time I played through as Emily, and the second time I played through as Corvo.
Yeah.
And there were some slight differences here and there. I think the major difference between the two games, I think that the biggest detractor, the biggest sort of negative for the original game, a lot of people felt that the level design wasn't up to scratch when it came to considering the teleport mechanic.
Yeah.
So that you've got that blink mechanic, and a lot of people considered that to be basically the main way to play the game, and also kind of ruined some of the levels because you could just kind of blink across large distances and not have to really get sort of stuck in. I would argue that you play a game how you want to play it, and it's a sign of good game design that they made it so that you could play it. You can be down at street level, you can play it like Splinter Cell, you can ninja your way across the rooftops, or you can go in guns blazing and bring rats out of the floor to eat people.
It's always fun. I always found that I struggled in the obviously interior environments where it was kind of closed off. In the first one, I found like you say, I relied heavily on the blink mechanic because I thought it was fucking awesome, and I wanted to use it all the time. And when you're inside a building and stuff, sometimes it's quite difficult. I know the majority of the time there were like air ducts and stuff and things at the top, or like rafters or whatever you could get on and walk about. But in certain situations, I was like, oh shit, I'm totally fucked here. But
it's pretty tough. Certainly the how much the enemies kind of pay notice to you is very much governed by that difficulty level.
Yeah.
That's, obviously that and the amount of health you lose from hits. Those are the two things. Now, if this is a game where you're trying to stealth through it, I find in very stealthy games that sometimes even if I'm seen or caught, even if I kill everyone and escape out of that situation, I might reload.
Yeah,
because it's just
really you haven't done it properly. You haven't done it the way you intended to do it. You kind of like
exactly
you brute forced it really.
But then you can spec towards brute force and you can run through the game murdering everyone. And there's different endings, different dark endings and stuff if you do that. The biggest difference, I think, Dishonored 2, I think they're experimenting with a sort of semi-open world sort of thing, and they also had a lot of maps that kind of felt almost sort of maze-like. It was kind of more like I think Dishonored, the original Dishonored is like a linear first-person shooter adventure game.
Yeah.
And with Dishonored 2, I think they tried to lean into IO's sort of Hitman design of levels, where it feels a bit sort of like it's doing its own thing. You've got a big area. There's 150 different ways of doing something.
Each enemy's got their set events of things they do, and they continue to do that. And you can find your way of how you want to address that situation.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm a massive
very Hitman
fan.
in that respect, whereas the original game slightly more linear and
more
slightly less
choreographed in a way.
to. I think so. Yeah. I've always been a fan of linear games anyway. I think there's more than enough open world stuff to be getting on with.
He likes
I
a
thought
straight
Dishonored
line.
2 was fucking excellent, by the way. I'm planning on playing through it again after I finish the original. But yeah, it's such an awesome game, this. Like, even though I know all of the twists and turns of the story already, it just feels so nice to play. It's smooth as anything, and yeah, it's just a real, just joyful experience. The fact that you can kind of knock people out, and then as you're suffocating them, you can hold X to carry them on the spot, or just let their bodies drop to the ground. It's very, very good. I was obviously going to say that given last week's episode, but
coming back to this game, it's an absolute pile of shit. I can't really remember why I put it in my top 10 of the decade, but
mistakes were made. Yeah, it's brilliant. If you haven't played it, it's 15 quid on Xbox and 30 quid on PlayStation. So,
or if you have Game Pass, you can play, number 2. I would say
number 2 is on there, and
also very good. Which
I don't think you need to play the first one.
No, not until.
Especially if you play as Emily, because it's kind of like a whole new chapter for her anyway.
Yeah, that's what I did, because I never completed the original Dishonored. I got to a point and then tapered off like you do with video games. With Dishonored 2, I took her up and I was like, I loved it all the way. Until the very end, when I fucked it and just went
very good.
Guns ho, which was a mistake, like you say.
It can happen. Yeah, I think that's another thing. Another thing that differs between the two. I think Dishonored 2, whilst it gave you all of these powers, I think it penalised you more for brute forcing it than the first game. The first game, there was maybe less enemies around. Some of that probably to do with just the technology at the time, but you never really felt completely overwhelmed in the way that you did if you ballsed it up on Dishonored 2. So,
totally.
It's another sort of subtle difference between the two games. But either way, it's great. So, yeah, play that. Also this week, let me just run through the other single-player games that I've played, and then I'll talk about one that I've been playing multiplayer. Children of Morta, Morta. It's been added to Game Pass on the Xbox. I don't know if it's on PC. It's a sort of 16-bit hack and slash RPG. It's very well presented and feels quite nice to play. Very off-putting voiceover narration that they seem to have spent all the money on and needn't have, because it's annoying and not very good. But this is just like an old school sort of hack and slash RPG. It's got that sort of isometric view to it. Some very nice mechanics, but it also kind of feels a little bit like, I don't know, like sort of, it's got that sort of bar along the bottom kind of World of Warcraft type thing where you've got set powers and everything. You're sort of MOBA-esque kind of thing. But that's been added to...
What's the wizard thing that I'm thinking of?
Magicka?
Is it called Magicka?
Magicka, yeah, we have Magicka 2. That has your sort of bar of powers. This has kind of got a bit of that going on. It's really beautiful looking game, like for one of these sort of throwback kind of sort of chip tune-esque sort of 16-bit affairs. It's very pretty and very cool enemy design, and quite enjoying it, to be honest. It's as I say, the narration's quite off-putting. I don't really like that very much. But
not as good as like Bastion or whatever.
No, it hasn't got any of that sort of self-awareness. It feels very serious, which doesn't really suit it, in my opinion. I just think it's kind of cringy, really. And it may not sound like a massive deal, but it's something that you're hearing all the time.
Yeah, so it's a narrator. It's got to keep you captivated in some way, shape, or form.
It's pretty annoying. They're telling the story, so I don't think it's going away. But either way, it's an interesting little game, and certainly well worth a poke if you're on Game Pass, as is the case with almost all games that come to Game Pass.
Indeed,
including the next one, which I'm really impressed with. This is a game called Frostpunk. It's been out on PC for some time, and their console edition now exists and is on Game Pass. And I've been kind of dipping in and out of this over the last couple of weeks. I wanted to play it a little bit more before I talked about it on here. It's like a city management real-time strategy sort of game. It's got like a Warcraft 3 in terms of the resources, where you're sending
Command and Conquer stuff.
Numbers of people out to like a mine, and they're traipsing back and forth. They've got
King
to go
and Kathleen's,
various, sort of resources stuff. But then you can, it's post-apocalyptic in the snow. You're up in the Arctic, and you're in like a big old crater at the start. There's like a big coal furnace in the middle, and you've got to try and keep the thing going while you're slowly building up your resources. And then eventually you can start building housing and roads and all sorts. And I've really only just scraped the surface of this thing, but it's very intuitive. It hasn't got the problems of a lot of obvious PC-suited strategy games where you chuck a controller's sort of button configuration at it and it's really fucking annoying. That's not the case.
They've actually thought about it here then.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's quite nice and intuitive, and I found fairly early doors that it wasn't really driving me mad having to think of what buttons to press and stuff. And
that's good.
On top of that, it didn't feel like I was sort of balls deep in menus all the time either. It's all quite elegantly designed to the point where you can really sort of just get stuck in and enjoy things. And finally about it, one thing that I really, really like is the art style. The introduction's excellent as well, and then the amount of zoom that you've got on the game world and the characters, you can get really quite sort of far in and see some lovely animations here, or you can zoom right out and treat it like a sort of the ant simulator that I think it wants you to. So it's really good, it's my sort of game. I haven't played this sort of strategy game for some time. It's got speed controls and stuff, like every sort of classic simulation-esque sort of game does.
So you're not just waiting around to get resources all the time.
No, you can speed things along, and more than anything, a game sort of set in this incredibly harsh environment following this incredibly sort of catastrophic event. It feels like you could fucking kill them all really, really easily. Like you're walking a tightrope of survival here, and that's exactly what it needs, being the sort of game that it is. So it's pretty cool, man. Like, just surprised at this. Go ahead.
What's the actual story, or what are you trying to do? Is it just a case of trying to survive the winter, or is there like an enemy faction that's going to come and fuck you up, or what?
Well, so far I haven't come across any enemies, but I'm very much certain that there are some.
Yeah.
In terms of the sort of early gameplay, it's very much survival.
Okay.
That's basically what I'm up to. I'm really in the sort of first hour of the thing, so I'm hoping that I've, as I say, hardly seen anything that the game has to offer at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what the sort of minute-to-minute gameplay is going to be in like hour 4 or hour 5, for example, but early doors, just getting everything set up. It's just really interesting and cool. It's just really cool.
Nice.
As a steampunk snow apocalyptic thing should be. It should be really cool. So yeah, it is.
Nice. Well, I'm installing that right meow.
Is it on? Oh, it's on the PC Game Pass, is it?
It is on PC Game Pass.
Very nice too. Yeah, it's it's good, man. Yeah, well worth a go.
Givens. I'll give it a
So that's that. I've also played a demo on the PlayStation Store. I'll just very, very briefly mention. It's a little 2D single screen, level by level puzzler called Flat Heroes, and it's you're a little square. There's lines, and then it shoots. So it's almost like it's basically like Space Invaders.
Yeah.
But you just have to hide as everything tries to kill you, and if you manage to do that, then you win the level. That's the game.
Okay.
So you know,
interesting.
You bounce off 2 or 3 walls to get up to a block, and then if you can sit on that block, then you'll avoid all of the gunfire as it comes up the screen. And then on the next level, maybe there's some little weird spermy thingies that kind of chase you, and you've got to kind of dodge them whilst positioning yourself in the right place to not be killed. And that's it. It's got real quick respawn, like, don't worry about it, buddy, sort of stuff. Each level was kind of ramping up a bit more, and then there's boss battles at the end of every sort of 10 levels. So it felt a bit sort of mobile gamey, but just very nicely presented, and just controlled really nicely on the PlayStation as well. So it's a demo that's on there at the moment. It's dirt cheap to buy as well, and maybe worth your time if you like sort of 2D puzzly, platformy sort of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's that. So finally from me, buddy, myself and friend of the podcast, The Funk, we've been tucking into a game bafflingly created by Avalanche Studios called The Hunter: Call of the Wild.
And how has this been? I'm guessing it's co-op based, as soon as you've been playing it together.
Yeah, so this is a hunting game. Of course, there's
I'm a
rich
fan
history
of the hunting game.
Mediocre to shit hunting games.
I'm trying to think of what it used to be called, the one that I always used to play, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah.
There's been a lot of hunting games over the years. Some of them have been terrible.
Most of them, I'd say. Yeah.
With names like Big Grizzly and that sort of thing.
Yeah, were they Big Game Hunter or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, there were those. Yeah. I mean, I think the first hunting game I played was in the arcades, where you could pick up like a plastic rifle, and it had a sort of time crisis thing going on, but with like leopards and stuff.
Oh, that's it. I used to play Cabela's, I don't know, African Safari.
Yeah. That's right.
I had a big old go on that back in the day on the 360. That was good times. Yeah,
pretty rich history of mediocrity in this genre. Well, this is a fairly impressive thing, to be honest. It's a giant open world hunting simulator across various different genres of continents, I suppose. It's up to 8 players co-op online.
Fuck off.
And then you've also got, as well as you can set like competitions between each other. You can travel around together or compete against one another. There's vehicles in this. You've got ATVs you can scud about on as well. It's got all manner of different sort of options for weaponry, from crossbow to pistol, shotgun, rifle. It's got Firewatch towers that you can go up to expose new areas of the map, Assassin's Creed style. It's pretty in depth in terms of like wind mechanics and stuff. Obviously, you want to be like,
you got to be downwind.
You got to be downwind. You got to kind of crab around, and then there's all these tracks on the floor, and you can follow specific tracks.
Do you have to pick up poo and taste it?
I don't know if they taste it. You don't see them taste it, but you can certainly find droppings, and that tells you how old the droppings are, and therefore how old the track is that you're following, or how fresh it is.
Yeah.
We found that we were able to sort of kite stuff around quite nicely. So last night we managed to successfully kite a brown bear around, like from one side to the other side, and I sort of clocked him with my shotty as he ran past, and then he sort of attacked the Funk very briefly. But yeah, you can level up. You claim your kill, and then it gives you sort of how much grams. It gives you it's got the Sniper Elite thing of this is where you shot it. You got it in the lungs. That's why it stopped running, and so on.
Yeah.
And inevitably, there's a skill tree selection of upgrades to make you a better hunter as well.
Wow.
So you can improve how well you can track things and how easy it is for you, and how quiet you are. You've got a quiet meter as well. You can go crouching or prone, crawling through the undergrowth and stuff.
Nice. Can you get different like ghillie suits and stuff on?
Seems to be different outfits, and then also a huge selection of animal noise makers and little duck whistles and all that sort of thing as well. They've kind of covered all the bases here, and it's, I have to say, feels particularly unstable when it's running.
Really?
Yeah, we had. I had my first hard crash since Metro Exodus, where the whole thing just not only did the game stop, but it did the thing where it loops that specific second of sound. So it's just
that's totally fucked.
That's lovely. Funk got one of those as well.
Nice.
And then he got into the game after I sent him an invite, and it immediately kicked him. And then at one point we were hunting some sort of deer or something, and then suddenly I was just on the dashboard. The game was just shut. It was gone. That was that.
So, no, mate.
Yeah,
not today.
This thing's got proper hosted servers for some reason. So that's weird.
Yeah, you think it'd be P2P?
All in all, it runs nicely when it runs, and they're kind of adding to it all the time, I think.
Yeah.
But just really, it's a really enjoyable game to play because it's just so easy.
It's relaxing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's not easy to catch and kill stuff. We had a right old struggle chasing a moose for about an hour last night, but at the same time, it's just, it's one of those where you can kick back and it doesn't matter, No,
really exactly. You're just having a bit of fun,
at all.
You're not thinking about the shitness of your life for that hour while you're chasing the moose down. Yeah.
Seriously,
I'm with you, buddy.
We hit that moose 3 times, and as far as I'm concerned, that should have been that.
He should be fucking
I don't know,
dead.
We found fucking Terminator moose or something, but I hit it, he hit it, and then he hit it again, and it's just not cool. Some real funny glitches. We were chasing these deer for ages, and I came around this mountain pass. There's some real problems with the landscape rendering properly. You get these graphical glitches on stones and stuff that starts looking like almost like crystal formations on a fucking alien world or something.
Nice.
And that had obviously scuppered the AI completely, because I came around the corner and there were like 7 deer just standing in front of me, and I walked right up to them. They clearly couldn't move. They were just like making weird noises. I was like bumping into them and shit, and then I just started executing them one after the other.
Nice.
And they died, but they didn't fall over. They just remained standing there.
Yeah.
So
it's like the T-pose for a moose or a deer.
Exactly. Yeah, buggy as fuck. But I don't know if this is on PC Game Pass.
No, it's not. I've checked because I want to give it a go.
You'd be up for that. I mean, I'd imagine that hunting as like a 4 or a 6 on this game.
Just there drinking beers, getting shit-faced.
Would be really fun.
That'd be really funny.
Fun. And you could set real traps, you can kind of kite animals into valleys and stuff, so you could probably like get quite tactical and strategic here. I'm looking forward to unlocking some like sleep darts and that sort of thing. And I also noticed a mention or somewhere on the wiki of the game that if you're in game chat, then it takes your voice into consideration in terms of your volume of movement. So if you're playing like not in a party with people and using the game chat,
I can see him. He's over there.
Yeah, exactly. So
don't spook him.
Don't spook him.
Be quiet! Shut up! You're gonna spook him.
So yeah, there you are. That's the Hunter Call of the Wild, buddy. And
Nice. That sounds good fun.
Yeah,
I love
decent.
shit games like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely love them. Like the amount of like stupid fishing games and hunting games and just absolute bollocks games that I've played in my life. I just love it. I'm like, it's something different. That's all it is. It's just something different. You're like, wicked. I'm up for a bit of diversity.
Yeah, and I think the reason that this holds together rather well in terms of, at least because it does look lovely. It looks really nice, and the maps are quite large as well, and it's clearly it's using that Just Cause engine. That's what's happening. So
which runs really well.
Yeah, obviously that does explain the jankiness, but it's quite impressive when it runs, and highly recommended if you're on Game Pass. Obviously, with the Funk having picked up an Xbox now, just going through various games,
everything.
We can play co-op. Shadow
Makes
Warrior
sense.
2's next on my list, so you can play that 4-player co-op through the whole campaign. So
nice.
I'm looking forward to. I've never played a Shadow Warrior game, so I'm quite looking forward to that. But
cool.
There you go, buddy. That's what I've been playing this week.
Quick question, buddy. What are you drinking?
Drinking wise, a bit of a mixture. The missus went down to Aldi today, so
you got the one with the Indian man on it.
That's next on my list. The old Ghost Dance, buddy.
There it is.
I've just had this William Brothers Clute West Coast IPA. I have to say it was shit.
It's not great. I normally stay away from those little cans. They're all a bit wanky. She just got
one of each. I like the little ones mostly. I'm on the Freak Ale Works Phantom Ale at the moment.
Have you tried all the ones at Aldi? I mean, like the little ones elsewhere. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I quite like several of them.
Nice. You might have more of a selection than me.
Maybe it's a brand new.
I think there's only
Aldi,
about
so they're
4
probably
of
putting
them.
on the Ritz.
Yeah, stepping their game up.
There's definitely like 12, 15 of them at our one at the moment.
Oh, fuck, really? Okay.
Yeah, pretty good.
Nice. Well, I'm on the official sponsor of the Premier League. I'm on the Budweiser tonight.
Why not, eh?
I mean, it's all...
Lots of reasons.
There's lots of reasons not to get it, but when you stop at a Shell garage on your way home and think, oh, shit, I need some beer, and you look at the selection and like a bottle of Doom Bar's like £2.50, you're like, I'm all right, thanks. I'll spend £5 on 4 really shitty lagers. That'll do.
I do wonder if that beer is actually, if you get it from the brewery where it's like
What, Doom Bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't
really
mind it. It's fine.
I'm not a fan.
It's nothing. It's an amber. You know,
it's just
not gonna
dead.
taste it.
Like there's just nothing there.
Sharps do a couple of really nice beers though. But we went there. Like I went there, didn't I? I went to the brewery pub down in Padstow, or across from Padstow.
Very true.
In the summer. Yeah, it was really nice. Enjoyed it a lot. What's it? Atlantic. That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's not too bad. That one. That's not too bad. I did make a slight mistake in the supermarket last week, buddy.
Oh no!
In that I picked
Non-alcoholic
up a 4-pack.
beer.
You're absolutely right.
Fucking schoolboy.
Just a complete waste of time. But
what's the fucking point?
Of all the ones I've ever had,
yeah,
very much the nicest. It's an actual IPA mock, and I don't believe I would notice if someone just presented me with it.
The fact you're not pissed or getting pissed.
But if someone gave me a half a beer in a glass,
and you drank that,
I don't believe I would know.
That's
which is pretty impressive, I would say. Yeah. Whilst obviously completely pointless at the same time.
Totally.
So, have you got anything to talk about in terms of like what you've been up to this week, or should we just sort of move on at this point?
I'm really close to getting my triumph in Destiny 2. I've been grinding the shit out of it because, you know, that's what you do. It's been good. Yeah, reasons just to play the game. No, it's been good. I've been diversifying what I've been playing in that game. It's opened my eyes to a lot of different things in there, which is nice. Doing a lot more Crucible, a lot more Gambit. But mainly just smashing all the raids. We're going through all of them at the moment. We started another one. I streamed it the other day. I don't know what it's called, but like I don't think any of our team had done it before, and it was really good actually. A few of the guys kind of had an idea of what we were meant to be doing, but I went in there like completely blind, not knowing, and like we got to I think like the third stage, and I fucking worked it out, and I was like, wow, I'm well smart. I know what we have to do here as a team of 6. It was a case of splitting into 3 teams, and then 3 people had to get some buff, and then I don't know, it was rotating clockwise, and then 2 people from there had to meet up with 1 from that team, and I worked it out. I got there. I was like,
nice too.
I'm like a smart man. But yeah, it's cool. There was like a big community event solving a massive puzzle. I think it was like the biggest puzzle in Destiny's history last week. I ignored it because I was like, I can't be asked. I'll just wait until someone figures it out and tells me what to do. So I did that. And I got the new exotic thingy gun that whatever, who cares anyway. But yeah, there you go. That's Destiny 2 this week.
Very nice too, buddy.
Givens, buddy. Yeah, just streaming loads. I think I did like 5 streams or 4 streams last week. Obviously, that will be changing going forward. When I've got this Triumph and that's all done and dusted, that's when I'm going to start changing up what I'm playing. And I nearly bought what's the Theme Hospital one called?
2 Point Hospital.
Yeah, I nearly bought that this week. It was on sale for £6. I was like, fuck. I'd love to do like a stream of that, like try and run through it and see how far I can get and how stupid. But did like you just gone on about that Frostpunk, and that sounds kind of, you know, world buildy kind of thing, top downy thing. So
I think if you fancy then you can get well into that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a go, because I mentioned to you like Monday I don't do any raids or anything, so I think Monday might be like Game Pass stream night or whatever.
Gibbons. I have to find some cross-play cool stuff. So
I think so. Well. Bit of Sea of Thieves. I mean, State of Decay. You said that the Funk's getting into that, so I'd like to have a go on that. It'd be cool. Be very cool. Yeah. So
it's kind of slowed up a little bit through January for in terms of new additions to Game Pass. I think we've kind of been spoiled over the lead up to Christmas. It was basically from E3 last year onwards, they just would absolutely chuck in software at me.
They announced 4 new ones coming soon, didn't they? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
some sort of plague of something, wasn't it? I don't know.
Plague. Innocence, A Plague Tale.
Yeah, that one. That's meant to be pretty decent.
I'm really looking forward to that.
So that'd be a good laugh.
I've wanted to play that for quite some time. I played the demo and really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
What else was there on there? I'm trying to remember now.
I barely remember the other ones. I don't think they were that
Fishing Sim World Pro Tour.
What?
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's on Xbox One, not PC. That's a shame.
I don't know.
Nah, I don't remember seeing it on the PC Game Pass news. But if it does, though, I'll have a burn.
Children of Morta.
Yeah, that's already been popped on now, isn't it?
Yeah, as I say, that's good fun, that. Plague Tale Innocence. And Gris is the other one.
Yeah.
Is a platformer, I believe, that I'd rather like to play.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, games to look forward to, and while we're talking about games to looking forward to, buddy, what about other games that are coming out this year that might take our fancy?
Man.
We've got a little list of a few games here.
Yeah, I've tried to be kind of diverse here. There's other stuff that I'm really looking forward to that I'm always looking forward to.
Obviously.
For example, F1. I know that it's just an F1 game. If you don't like racing games, you're gonna have no interest whatsoever. But totally. It's an exciting. It's been a while since we've had so much
new
more
tracks,
new content.
buddy.
There's at least 2 new tracks going in there, and then you've got sort of pretty sweeping additions to the way that the cars work and how easy it is to follow behind other cars and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, always, as usual. But really, the stuff that I'm most excited for, how many have I got here? I've got like 8 different thingies that I quite like the look of. So let's start with Doom, buddy. Doom Eternal, which...
Yeah.
You know, the original remake, let's call it that, I suppose. Like,
yep.
Just came out of nowhere.
Was it 2016?
I believe so. They thought that it might be like badly received. We thought it was probably going to be shit, and then it turned out it was fucking awesome.
It was mega high octane, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm just hoping that we've got more of the same here, but I do wonder if, you know, it's kind of if the gameplay is as fun as the first one, then really, like, I don't need much more than that. I don't know about you.
You'll take another go on that merry-go-round kind of thing.
Yeah. Did you finish the original one?
I never did. I still haven't finished it. God knows how far I got in it. It's going to be another one of those cases where, like, what was that Tale of Two Sons, where I literally got to the last sequence and was like, yeah, no, I'll come back. And I just won't bother playing it. So I pretty much reckon I'm near the end. But yeah, one day, it's on my list.
One day, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was fantastic. You know what to expect from the next one, and the trailer, it looks quite wonderful. Similarly, sort of pulsating, just the sort of game that doesn't come along very often, where you get through, you know, essentially you're moving from dungeon to dungeon and kind of killing everything. And you get to the end of that particular sort of section, and you just have to take a real life actual breath, because it gets so sort of tense and exciting. Yeah. You're just like, fucking hell.
Everything just went into overdrive, like the music, like the enemies, like the action, everything was just frantic. I'd say is the word.
Frantic's the fucking word, man. Yeah. No. So that's one that I'm looking forward to a hell of a lot. We should probably talk about Cyberpunk, which since we last spoke, has been delayed, hasn't it?
Yeah, till September. Boo. Yeah. But I'm all right with that, as long as it works.
I think I do struggle. I mean, this is always a weird year, the year that new consoles are launching.
Yeah.
And it's not as bad as it used to be, because, you know, backwards compatibility and iterations of consoles is now a thing where they're not, you know, detaching the previous sort of gen completely, and you're not having to make such sort of crucial decisions there.
Yeah.
But the idea of buying Cyberpunk 2077 on the current generation of consoles, it's a harder sell for me at this point, when I know how much better this thing's going to look and run. And I had the exact same thing with GTA. Some of us took the plunge and some of us didn't. Yeah. I waited until the PS4 version, and I was very pleased that I did that. And I'm starting to wonder with some of these games like Cyberpunk, like The Last of Us 2, which we'll talk about in a second, the real graphically demanding, graphically impressive games that are coming out this year. Yeah. Can I wait? Am I old enough now that I can actually wait for stuff?
Don't need to play it that day,
I think maybe I am. I think maybe I'm that old and boring now that...
Because it's not like you're not going to have any other games to play in the meantime.
No, exactly. Especially with Game Pass churning them out as well. Yeah. So, but anyway, like, aside from all that and what you're going to play it on and when you're going to play it, Cyberpunk 2077, buddy, like, what are you thinking with this? What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously predominantly a single player thing. They're talking about it being at least sort of 18 months after launch before the multiplayer comes out, whatever that may be. I think whatever that is, we kind of said from the start we didn't give a fuck whether it even had multiplayer. We weren't even expecting it. But what are your thoughts like about this game going forward?
Being a huge fan of the whole I don't want to say cyberpunk. What's the fucking word for it? You know, futuristic neon shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan. What was the Netflix series? I can't even remember now. That was really good. Altered Carbon, there you go.
Altered Carbon, yeah. I mean, Deus Ex obviously is a leading exponent
Deus Ex
of this.
and things like that. Like anything set in that era, or not era, like environment. I'm definitely drawn to, because I don't know, it's just really interesting. Like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, really, and get away with it because there's no rules. You know, animatronic people and all that stuff. It's crazy, you know. I mean, I was going to go into something about how we're actually going there with like body hacking and biohacking now, but there's no need to. It's a video games podcast. I'm just really looking forward to it. I think I'm going to be more drawn to this because it's going to be more of a first-person shooter, whereas The Witcher, with its third-person combat and stuff, I really struggled with it, and I didn't put in the hours to really get to terms with it. So I think initially I'll be drawn to this game a lot quicker than that. And then, it's going to have all kinds of fucking RPG elements. And, I mean, the storylines, fuck knows what they're going to be, but they're going to be pretty good. To say the least, I reckon. There's just going to be an endless amount of choices, I think, to be made in this game, which is one of the things that draws me to it.
Absolutely. I think the thing that surprised me the most and has stuck with me from the very beginning here is, and it shouldn't be a massive deal, but the fact that it's first person confuses the hell out of me, because
of course, yeah, I was shocked. Like, I was like, why are they doing this when, like, The Witcher is a third person game? What how does this work?
Everything they've made has been third person, and
how would you want to play a game like that in third person, do you reckon? It would be like Mass Effect, I guess, in some way.
I think you've got huge issues when you've got a built-up city with a third-person camera.
Yeah.
You know, that's always been a problem. I was watching earlier in the week, me and the missus settled in and watched the documentary that NoClip have done on Transistor. Which was obviously is a fantastic PS4 game. You need to try it if you haven't, from Supermassive. But they were saying they wanted to do a Metropolis, and whilst, you know, I realised this was a sort of isometric view game, they struggled with that because, you know, you can have skyscrapers up the wazoo behind the character, but you can't have them in front because you're obscuring them. And I think that might have a little bit to do with it. I think, I mean, the original quotes, they were just saying, we want you to see everything on the screen, and we also want you to be the protagonist rather than us.
Yeah, instead of being Geralt.
Yeah, exactly. So, all of those design decisions I can understand, but that was the thing that confused me and surprised me the most. Was I was expecting a third-person open-world game. I love third-person open-world games, and I was surprised that it was a first-person game. And I worry about that because CD Projekt Red has never made a fucking shooter, and it's now crucial. It's crucial that this game feels great and that the shooting mechanics feel great and everything.
Well,
that's something that Rockstar have got away with for years. The fact that it's, you know, you chuck GTA 5 into first person mode and you see how fucking bollocks the gunplay is. So, you know, it's something to worry about. You look at the opposite
with Guerrilla Games. They went from first person to third person and fucking smashed it.
And they nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing about, you know, it being third person, like, obviously they've spoken about the world and how you can't measure it by the size of the world because of the verticality, like we're on about skyscrapers up the wazoo or whatever, is because it's a multi-tiered map, you know, it's going to go up and up, and it's 3D, buddy.
It's 3D. Either way, whatever it is, I'm really excited for it. They've been working on it for a really long time, and I'm very hopeful.
And it's got Keanu Reeves in, so I mean, sure
thing. Why not? Probably be another John Wick out by then, but that's obviously a big one. Cyberpunk, and another massive one is The Last of Us 2, which I think I very briefly said last week. I would still prefer it if they weren't making this game. I think the first game is a perfect time capsule of that moment. I don't think that you need to continue with the story. The ending of that game is perfect, in my opinion.
I feel like maybe because it's so much later on, like so many years later, that maybe that's okay.
I guess
it's not like, oh, they've just done that final, cutscene where they're walking away or whatever, and bam, you're back in it. It's like years have passed, things have changed.
Yeah, and
she's a lesbo.
I can see that. I can see her growing up and you wanting to, dip into that story. I just hope they don't fuck it up, because
no, I don't think they will.
The first game is, I firmly believe, is one of the greatest games ever made, The Last of Us. And I would be very, very sad, because you can say what you want about sequels, and you can kid yourself. You can tell yourself that a bad sequel doesn't sour the original content, but I'm sorry, it does. You can't get away from that. It exists, and if it's bad, then it shouldn't exist. Blues Brothers is one of my favourite films of all time. I'm still well aware of Blues Brothers 2000 all these years later, and I can't
Super Mario
forget
2, buddy. I mean, just look at that.
Fuck that game. Yeah. So anyway, obviously this looks gritty as fuck. They're tackling stuff that I don't think any video game ever has, and doing it in a realistic fashion, to the point of, I think that this is going to be the first game that realistically explores horrific violence. I mean, we've already been witnessed to like potential like rape scenes, and also realistic sexuality in a video game, which hasn't really happened a great deal, regardless of what orientation it is.
Yeah,
the characters tend not to be particularly believable in a lot of video games, whereas a lot of the time it
feels like it's forced
and a caricature of real life, whereas this feels like it could have the grit of a proper film. And we've always been big fans of good stories in games, and they make it makes them stand out massively. So yeah,
makes a huge difference.
I'm really excited for this. Everything that I've seen so far suggests this is going to be an absolute fucking banger. And again, super excited.
Nice, very cool. Me too, obviously. But so is this a game that you could wait for, or?
Again, I think at this point in my life, I could probably wait for anything. If I made a decision that I was going to get a console 12 months after this thing came out, and it was going to run the thing like 4K 60 rather than 1080 30, then yeah, I can probably wait. And then that will be a complete lie when we actually get there. So what about my next pick, buddy, Ghost of Tsushima? Have you seen much about this? Have you got any thoughts?
I think bar from that E3 trailer thing that they released, which was pretty intense, they did like a full mission kind of thing on it, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Apart from that, I haven't really followed it at all. It looks fantastic. And
graphically amazing, absolutely amazing.
That grass, just wow. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a really fun game to control from the footage that we've seen so far. I've always loved that sort of, we used to play Tenchu back in the day. It's got that sort of hack and slash vibe to it, but like super gory and heavily like story driven.
It's intense.
I just think it's hard to say what it's going to be at this point.
And that's the thing. Like, I'd like to know more about like, what is it? Is it just like a linear storyline, or is it an open world kind of thing, or what? Like, I could quite easily see this kind of like being like a Metal Gear Solid kind of thing. Phantom, what was it? Phantom Pain? Was it that one? Yeah, where it's all big and open and you've got missions or whatever you're doing, or is it like this is the storyline, you need to go and avenge your family for what they've done? I don't know. Maybe all this stuff is already out. I just don't know, buddy.
Well, there's a lot of,
until it's thrusted upon me, I will not know.
I mean, one thing that you got to say about Sucker Punch is that they're like world building. I mean, I thought Second Son was excellent. I thought it was an excellent game, and their world building is really strong there. But their story stuff's really strong as well. You know, they had some excellent sort of well directed cutscenes that it kind of enhanced Infamous Second Son, which, you know, on paper was a really stupid fucking concept, but actually they kind of brought gravitas to it with the cutscenes and the acting, and obviously Troy Baker on top of his game as usual,
doing the business.
Yeah, this could be. What I want from this is a fucking Last Samurai, the video game. That's what I want. Obviously minus Tom Cruise, but. That's what I'm after, is a mixture of that and Crouching Tiger in terms of these like quintessential sort of noughties Japanese, like amazing to look at and really sort of slow and gritty and not much dialogue. And if they can kind of nail that mood, and it kind of looks from the early trailers that's kind of where they are with it. Yeah. I think the problem always with the game like this is pacing, when you're talking about maybe semi-open worlds and quests that you have to kind of find on your own. There's not many open world games can deal with that. That was why people love The Witcher 3 so much, because it's a giant open world, but somehow managed to maintain a sort of level of pace just by being very cleverly designed and making you kind of want to go and find specific quests rather than just fucking about for hours and hours.
True.
So yeah, it looks awesome.
Does.
And I'm really, really excited for it. What about this next one, buddy? 12 minutes. Have you seen anything about this at all?
Yeah, I remember the trailer where they're just eating dinner or whatever, and then they're banging on the door and something about someone's dead or so. What was it like? I can't really remember the gist of it, but something like, and he knows that that's going to happen. Like someone's going to bang on the door in 2 seconds, and then bam, bam, bam. You need to listen to me. That kind of thing. You know the future, but and shit like that. Yeah, it's
Gibbons.
It looks very, very interesting. It's a fucking puzzle game. And I love puzzle games, buddy.
Yeah, well, I think first thing to say about this is you got to look at Annapurna Interactive, because these guys have been publishing some kind of exciting video games recently. A lot of people pegged Outer Wilds as their game of the year.
Yeah, true.
Annapurna published that game, and they seem to have a bit of an eye for it at this point. And obviously, you have to mention What Remains of Edith Finch as well. It's another one that they published.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 12 minutes. It is the developer is Luis Antonio. I believe it will be his first game. He's a Portuguese developer, and he's been working on this since 2015.
Let's put the time in.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a game where you have 12 minutes and then it resets, basically. Yep. And you got it again. The trailer showed off the guy, as you say, he's at the table with his wife. You find out quite a few things there, that some dude's going to come and kill them, that she it may have killed her father.
That was it, yeah.
And that she's pregnant. And it's got a brilliant sort of sinister, gritty Groundhog Day thing going on here, where he just comes out with this stuff. She goes sort of mental, and then it kind of cuts through lots and lots of different scenarios, lots and lots of different outcomes. I'm always a sucker for that sort of thing. In a sort of close quarters environment. Although you could argue that Outer Wilds therefore should have ticked boxes for me. I just couldn't get into that at all. I don't know why.
What's the stupid AI one made by the guy that did Rain? You're the AI. Yeah.
Yeah, that's got like a sort of analytical kind of thing going on to a degree. I mean, the trailer kind of got me for this, and I've watched a couple of interviews with the developer, and it's just something that I'm really looking forward to. It's a smaller game, obviously, but it looks well made and very well thought out and incredibly interesting. So it's just one that I like the look of and thought I'd highlight, buddy. So yeah, that's that one. So a couple more. First, Everwild. Do you know anything about this? Have you seen any of this?
I'm trying to remember, but off the top of my head, I'm just going to give it a quick Google while you talk about it, buddy.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's Rare. This is Rare, and it's the first Rare game for some time that's a completely new IP, and as far as I can tell, designed to be a sort of single-player open-world experience. Although I can't say for certain that it's not going to be a multiplayer thing. We don't know a great deal about it at this point, but it's definitely running off that Sea of Thieves engine and that they've kind of built on.
Yeah, I can see
it
that.
It looks lovely.
It looks really nice. The art style's really pretty.
Brand new IP. It's got a sort of... I think it's got a sort of Zelda kind of vibe going on here, but with a mixture of, like, you know, because you've got some interesting animals. There's a sort of Ori and the Blind Forest sort of vibe here with some of the animal design as well.
Yeah, like fantasy-wise kind of thing. It looks really, really nice. I have no idea what you're meant to do in it, though.
No, we don't know very much at all at this point. I would guess it's... I mean, there is some footage in the trailers that makes it look like it may well be a third-person adventure title. There's also a sort of posse that you're travelling with at points, so that does make you wonder if perhaps it is going to be a sort of multiplayer. But I just looked at the graphics of this thing and thought this can't be a it can't be a sort of full-blown. It can't be like an MMO. This because it just looks insane.
It wouldn't work in that sense, would it? You want it to be some sort of like open world exploration game, I would say.
Gibbons.
Yeah.
It looks very, very interesting as a starting point, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about it over the year. Obviously, this is a Rare game. Microsoft owns the studio, so you can expect this to be PC and Xbox exclusive. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what it's all about.
Nice, yeah, no, definitely. It's one to keep an eye on.
Gibbon, I've got a couple more, buddy. Firstly, have you seen much footage of Microsoft Flight Sim, the new one?
Once again, only like the trailers that were on like E3 or whenever it was. But fucking hell, that looks insane. It looks... I mean, it doesn't look like a flight sim. It just looks so good. I mean, the detail of all the world and everything.
I watched some videos of a guy on YouTube who plays, you know, Flight Simulator X, which is like the last release that Microsoft came out with. Just because he like role plays being the tower and stuff, and it's really fucking funny. But him and also the entire community are desperate for an updated new game, and
I'm sure
Microsoft held a sort of influencers and press event a couple of months back, and so there's quite a few videos online of people who got to play the thing and learn a lot about it. And as you say, like graphically, this thing looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's also the very first instance I'm aware of that it's going to lean properly on the cloud. In that,
really,
it's gonna be all cloud based, and then it's gonna download and cache within like X amount of miles. That's what will be stored on your system, and it will cycle that data in and out of online and offline as you go.
Okay.
So that's why it can be so detailed, and that's why it should be robust enough, despite the limitations of hardware, to have extremely detailed gameplay environments.
It's going to be interesting to see. So finally, the power of the cloud, buddy, is coming to action.
A mixture
we
of the power of the cloud
7 years ago. And
then this sort of, you know, deciding on a frame rate and a quality of image based on distance, proximity, and that sort of thing. Other things that are fucking ridiculous about this video game. The weather is going to be live, globally live.
That's cool.
So if it's raining...
if there's like a fucking tornado, I'm there. Let's get involved. Yeah.
If there's a massive storm in North Dakota, then if you can go and fly there and it'll be a storm.
Then you're dead.
If it's raining where you are and you take off where you are, then it will be raining, basically. Or you can set your own weather as well, but it's got real time if you want it.
I think I'd go with the real time. It's more funsies.
Yeah, just using Azure for all of that, and it looks nuts. It looks absolutely nuts.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It's also using like Bing Maps data to generate the environment, so that obviously they can't draw everything, but the algorithms that they've got in place and the technology they've got in place, in the same way that Google Maps can kind of show you 3D maps at this point, it's going to be doing a lot of that as well. So
nice.
It's
all about the data, buddy.
And it's coming to Xbox, which I probably wouldn't be that interested otherwise. But the fact that I can play it, I'm not sure how a fully fledged flight simulator works on a controller. But
be fine. Go and stop, mate. Just go and racing.
Stop. Yeah, left and right,
down,
up and down,
left, right. Yeah. Fly,
VR,
don't fly.
VR. So that's Flight Sim. The last one from me, buddy, is Exoc 1. Now,
what is this?
This is basically Matt Makes Games, who was the driving force behind, obviously, one of the greatest games ever made, Celeste. As they've closed Matt Makes Games because he's, they're a studio now. They're not just Matt. They've started their new studio. They've called it Extremely OK Games.
Nice,
and,
I like it.
Their first prototype, their first project that they're working on at the moment is called EXOK-1. And
Number 1.
I don't know anything about it, and neither does anyone else. But it's the guys who made Celeste, buddy.
Yeah, so fingers crossed, eh? It's going to be a first-person RPG.
I presume it's a truck racing game. But
it's going to be the complete opposite of Celeste.
Whatever they're working on, I'm interested.
He's on board.
It that way.
Yeah.
Because they've made one of the greatest games ever, buddy. I don't know if you're aware.
It's fair dues,
That's me, buddy. That's all of what I'm looking forward to this year. Have you got anything that you would like to add?
Not really. Like you say, I would go for them being the heavy hitters with a few wild cards in there. Looking through the list, I'm going to go with Cyberpunk being probably my most excited game. And then secondly, possibly 12 minutes. I don't know.
Does look interesting.
And that's it. It's the interesting fact about it that I like. I get the gist of what Doom's going to be. I get the idea of what, Last of Us is going to be.
Yeah.
Whereas with Cyberpunk, we kind of know what it's going to be, but it's just going to be very interesting to see how they pull it off. And also 12 minutes just looks, I like these little quirky games that are different. And this looks like one of them, mate. So I'm on board.
Gibbons, obviously I didn't, in my most excited for in 2020 list, include the new games consoles that are coming out in 2020.
Obviously, but,
you can take that as you want. Firstly, they're not very interesting because they're just
hardware.
Just faster, more powerful versions of what we've already got.
But that's all it's going to be from now on, buddy. I don't think there's ever going to be a holy shit balls. Look at this thing. It's insane. I mean, that was your VR, really, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, the first gameplay footage I've seen of anything, or alleged gameplay in engine footage, that leap forward is Senua 2. Obviously, that footage looks unbelievable, like
it's
photorealistic.
Yeah, that's fake.
I've never seen
like
graphics
been
like
rendering for years. That clip,
it's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Shout out as well when you are talking about old trailers, that stuff that's coming out in 2020. The new Halo, I think it's called Halo Infinite. I've absolutely no desire to play another Halo game, but I really did enjoy the trailer for whatever that game is going to be, and by that I mean just another Halo game. Where there's the guy in the ship and he kind of finds Master Chief floating in space.
Yeah, I do.
It was really cool. I really liked that. I just thought I'd mention that because I was looking back through old trailers before I put this list together. But yeah, obviously the new consoles. Firstly, PlayStation are making all the wrong noises about when their console will be backwards compatible. Sounds like it's going to be a token smattering of stuff that's backwards compatible at launch, and they'll slowly bring stuff in like Microsoft have done. And you could say that's fair enough, but I wouldn't agree with you, because technology has kind of moved on now to the point where it should just work natively.
It should just be there.
Using x86 processors and very similar RAM, and it should just work. It should just work. So
games work on a variety of PCs. They have all kinds of different internals. So what the fuck?
Yeah, I just think that it should work, and certainly saying that things are backwards compatible and then launching with like 6 games that are, I don't think that's particularly acceptable. Certainly doesn't.
No.
And it's not the be all and end all, the backwards compatibility for me. I don't really care about playing old games that I bought. I don't consider that a waste of money, that I can no longer play those games on anything other than the old hardware, because I don't want to. There's new games. That's
play the new games, isn't it?
But at the same time, with taking our wheels into consideration as well, and the fact that you're looking at Microsoft making noises that they're not even going to have any exclusives on their new console, as in everything's going to run on like my fucking shit heap, which I can't see how that works, man. How does that not hamper progression, making it so that my console that's 1/6 of the power of their new one doesn't have some sort of adverse effect on game design? I don't see it. I don't understand. That has to be detrimental, doesn't it? If you have to make it work on a piece of shit thing from 2013, does that not affect
I don't know.
It has to. I don't see it.
See, I've always thought, like, they've got fucking sliders. You move it up and down. Happy days, just like PC games. The thing with the consoles is, you've got those set. Everyone's got the same console. Everyone's got an Xbox One X, or everyone's got an Xbox One. It's not like there's little bits in between that, so you can just be like, right, set the sliders all the way bottom for the Xbox One, set them all the way at the top for Xbox whatever. I don't know. Is it not that easy?
I don't know, really.
And there's the whole point of now, like, even with the PS4 standard and the Pro, you can download higher res texture packs, like for Borderlands stuff like that. So why can't that just be the same going forward? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, old Richard Ledbetter at Digital Foundry Eurogamer, he compares it to the Switch. He said, they got The Witcher running on the Switch.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
But I just think if you have to be constantly concerned about getting stuff to run
on the shit
old
one
systems, even with just sliders and so on, it informs the decisions you make about the new game.
It's not so much how it looks; it's like the size of it and things like that, like the amount of stuff within that world, you're limited because of that hardware.
It's just another constraint.
Yeah,
totally. you've got 20 creative people in a room hashing out a new idea for a video game. You don't want one of the variables to be, will it run on an Xbox All Digital Edition?
There's some fucking nerd in the corner being
just shouldn't.
Excuse me, we need to look at the lower base models.
Yeah, exactly.
Making sure that it runs on that. Everyone else is like, we'll put fucking 1 million dinosaurs and they'll come down from space and then there's shit everywhere, and then that shit will form mutant alien dinosaurs, 1 million of them. We'll have 2 million dinosaurs and they'll be fighting each other, and that's not going to run on an Xbox One.
No.
It says 2 million dinosaurs there. It's not going to handle that. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. I don't know what we were talking about. Yeah,
no, we were talking about that.
No,
it makes sense.
We
Yeah, we'll see. All I can say is if there was ever a time where I felt that I could hold off from a new gen for a while, it's this time.
You know, there's been leaks about like both consoles, be it true or not. You know, I saw one the other day where obviously we know they were going to have solid states. There was a leak saying that the PS5 is going to have 1 terabyte of solid state. Is that enough?
I think that is enough. I think that's the equivalent to 500 gig in 2013.
I don't think it is.
I think you'll get 8 or 9 games on there.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
And that's probably similar to where we were in, say, 2015, 2016 with a 500 gig base model. So,
yeah, you're probably right, actually.
As long as it's easy to upgrade, I completely understand that more than a terabyte SSD is still oppressively expensive and just going to add to the price of the console. And I don't want that. I'd rather upgrade myself later. So,
talking about price, looks like the PS5 is going to be £450, which apparently is cheaper than the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, well, we're looking at 450 and 500 here, and again, like I think we've been spoiled to a degree. The PS4 launched at 350.
That was nice.
But that was at the time. Inflation,
fucking 350 quid. Ooh.
I thought that was a very good price. The Xbox One was 430, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, they were hamstrung by that Kinect to a degree.
True.
But prices, I mean, we've been spoilt for a long time on the price of video games and the price of consoles, in that they haven't risen in 30
They've got to make
years.
a loss.
It doesn't make sense.
No.
And I think for 400, 450 is probably fair at this point for what they're doing, for the power they.
I know, and that's
compared to a PC.
Exactly.
Compared to a PC, like you know how much this hardware costs. You know how much these processors cost at this point.
Of course.
And if you don't want to, then worry about that. Then you wait. Things have never been better from a hardware standpoint for gamers. You've got backwards compatibility on your consoles and steps and iterations of them, so that you can kind of ease your way in. But
you can take
leave you behind.
Exactly. I think,
it's
like
the
you say,
games that are the issue.
It's a nice place. It's like, I mean, obviously with PCs, it's been a case of like your games continue with you, like for I don't know, like how long's that been? Like 10, 12, 15 years easily.
Yeah, easily.
Where it's you've bought a game on like Steam or whatever, and you've had that game forever.
Once Windows 7 came out, then you're basically fucking gravy going forward, aren't you? They standardized the infrastructure and you're away. So, and
it's taking consoles a long time to get to that stage, but I think finally we are there now. But this brings up the question of, now with Game Pass being so strong and them already coming out and confirming that it's a sustainable thing and it will be there going forward, if you had to pick one of the two, which one's it's gonna be?
Xbox or PlayStation?
Yeah.
I think that Sony will catch up with Xbox in terms of the quality of their on-demand service.
Okay.
I think they
have to.
They have to, and therefore they will. And I think that if you look at Microsoft's viable content versus Sony's viable content, when they're on an even playing field of both having something akin to Game Pass, I don't believe there's much of a contest, and you obviously buy a PlayStation.
Yep. I think you're right there. But it's just the fact that Sony haven't got anything like that in place, and
they've got to swallow their pride.
I mean, you've already mentioned earlier that they rip people off for their prices. Like your Dishonored was twice the amount on on PlayStation compared to Xbox, and
I could probably find a reverse example of that, though.
Yeah, probably.
They're just not very well governed.
One of the main things that I constantly see is you can purchase like Xbox game codes from third-party websites on a regular for, a nicely discounted rate. Can't get any of that shit from Sony. It's really hard to find games. You can get like your PlayStation Plus cards and whatever. And obviously I highly recommend getting them from those places because it is cheaper than buying it off the PlayStation Store. I bought mine for 30 quid this year. And on the store it's 50, I think, isn't it now? Or something like that? Or 45, something stupid. So, I mean, it would be nice to have that opportunity where Sony were selling games not just on their own proprietary store.
Yeah.
But, if things still go forward with the game sharing, I'm not too fussed about that.
No, well, I think the big difference is if there's two subscription services there, then, as I said, Dishonored Definitive Edition is the first game I've bought on my Xbox. I've probably played 100 games on it.
Exactly.
So the biggest difference between the two services at this point are Sony have come out and specifically said they won't launch first-party titles on their service. And Microsoft, who have bought up a horde of studios and whose first-party content is going to improve over the next 2 or 3 years.
I mean, it's been pretty bad.
They've made a commitment to launching those games on that service.
Yeah, day one.
And so that's what makes the decision difficult, and that's why I'm saying that's what it comes down to for me, really.
I think you're right.
The majority of my games on Xbox now, and I'm only playing PlayStation for PES, which, by the way, I could play on Xbox because it's on Game Pass.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And my racing games on Game Night. And, of the games that we regularly play, Human Fall Flat and Formula 1 are the only things that aren't on there. And they've got last year's F1 on Game Pass. So I think that we would all tuck into one console and we would all probably not really buy anything. Just use the subscription.
And now that Destiny's free to play as well, buddy, then I'm fucking gravy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could see us buying 1 or 2 games a year. With Xbox, that's viable. You can buy 1 or 2 games a year, and you can just play the rest on the service. Yeah, because Ubisoft's gone to shit and EA's gone to shit, so it doesn't matter.
Couldn't give a fuck about their
games.
Yeah, no. Exactly.
So that's what it comes down to for me, and I think Sony have to react to Game Pass by
they need to
making it so that they release first-party titles day one on that service, and if they do that, then it becomes a much easier decision.
Especially with all the quality of their exclusives during this generation. They have been very impressive.
Sony absolutely shat all over Xbox in terms of first-party titles this particular gen. And whilst we've seen Microsoft investing the money in getting back up to the same level, they're not there yet, and we haven't really seen proof of it yet.
No, so, you're right.
And they're at the mercy to some degree of Sony having installed those new IPs in place and being able to dine off the sequels of them now. Whereas, you think of Xbox first-party exclusives, and the first 2 things you think of are Gears of War and Halo. And those games, people are sick of that shit.
It's just not fun.
You're talking Forza 8, Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
Like, people are sick of that shit. They just are.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
There we are.
Yeah, that's where we stand. So, for me, it's a case of I'm going to start sticking a little bit of money away just in case. I'm not going to go bananas and start saving all up like 500 quid for Christmas time. I think I'm going to put a little bit away just in case I'm like, all right, yeah, let's fucking pull the trigger on something. But I think it's going to be a very late call onto which one of these 2 consoles I get.
It might be a trip to Eurogamer this year.
I'm up for that, buddy.
September in Birmingham.
I'll do that.
I'm very tempted. It certainly helped us make the right decision last time a console launched.
Yeah, definitely.
We went into that thing planning to buy Xboxes.
Yeah, we came out of it.
And we came out of it certain that we were buying PlayStations, and we made absolutely the right choice there.
Yeah, I think you're right. We need to go and investigate. It'd be good.
Worth a look. Yeah,
Gibbons.
Interesting stuff, though. It's going to be exciting, whatever. I mean, there's nothing more exciting than a console launch if you're into your games. Like, I have got sucked into that shit every single time before.
Always.
So it's just, there's something about it. I remember getting my Dreamcast.
It's a magical moment.
And just being
you
like,
get that console and you open it and
I've got the best thing on earth.
It's when you set it all up, and you're like fucking taking your time, getting out of the box, not to fucking rip anything. You're like, oh, come on. And in your mind, you just want to rip it open and shove it on, but you're like, no, God, dude, take your time. But I used to love the feeling of buying a new game. Like, you went into town, like with your parents or whatever. Yeah, I got a new game. Yeah, fucking sweet. And you're in the car on the way home, or you're on the bus or whatever, and you're going through, you're reading the fucking thing inside it. What's the thing called?
The manual.
Yeah, you're going through. It's just not there these days.
I still get a little touch of that. That's why I go in CEX, because I get a little sort of twinge of that still when I'm carrying my game home.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So good. Yeah. The internet's ruined everything.
It has improved and destroyed everything.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it, buddy? Yeah. Good times. Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I think that's our show, innit? We're kind of there.
Yeah, I didn't expect us to go on for so long. It was good, actually.
It was good shit.
Considering this is the smallest notes I think we've ever had.
It's half a page of A4.
It's not even that. It's like 10 lines.
Yeah, you could probably count it in words.
Yeah. Is there a word count on here? I'm sure there is.
I don't think there is.
Yeah. There is. 44 words.
44 words. There you go.
But that's including, like, I'd say 10 of them are like pod notes. 237. What we've been playing. Most excited for in 2020. Take them out.
Two of the words are yo fucksters. So, yeah. Enjoy that.
Did you like my, abbreviation of Xbox Series X? The old Xbox sex.
Bit of sex chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Xbox sex. There you go.
Very nice.
I think it'll work.
Yeah. Absolutely. A perfect abbreviation, I think.
Yeah.
Gibbons. Well, lovely. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. And we'd love to hear what you think about 2020, what you're excited about, and also your thoughts on the new consoles. Best place to do that, you can head to our website, which is the JfGpodcast.co.uk, or head over to our Discord. You come and find us on Discord. We've got some people in there. They'd be well up for a cheeky chat with you. And you can also ask questions to get on the show there as well.
Just remember, we haven't mentioned their Game of the Year topics at all that we said we were going to, but there's always next week.
Next week, yes. Next week we'll have some more feedback. We'll have a proper Street Beat corner.
I think so.
The bits and pieces we've accumulated over the Christmas break, and and anything else that's added this week in terms of what we've been talking about here. So,
Gibbons.
Thanks so much, buddies. Cheers for listening. We'll catch you next time. Until then, I've been Alex. He's been Ash.
Farewell. Goodbye.
Farewell.
What do I say?
Auf Wiedersehen.
Whatever. Fuck off.
Fucking Von Trapp.
Check your trap.
You've been listening to the JfG Podcast with Ash and me, Alex. You can find us at www.thejfgpodcast.co.uk, where you'll also find our Discord and Street Beat if you want to get involved with the show. Our Facebook is /the JfG Podcast, and our Twitter handle is @the JfG Podcast. We're on all those video streaming sites too, buddies, from TubeTube to twitch.tv /the JfG Podcast to mixer.com, aka beam.fucking-pro. We've got a PS4 community you can join. Just search the JfG Podcast on there. And we're also on Google Plus if that is how you choose to live your life. Thanks so much for listening, buddies. We'll catch you next time.